Thanks, Cheryl, and I thank everyone for taking the time out of your day to spend with Vitelity and Sangoma. I hope that everyone is aware that Vitelity and FreePBX have been partners for many, many years, and that Vitelity has a long and successful track record of providing wholesale SIP trunking solutions for FreePBX users worldwide. So whether you're getting your free PBX hosted server from Vitelity or someone else, I just want to let you know that we provide everything that you need to allow your free PBX to communicate to the rest of the world. And that would be DIDs, largest footprint in North America, SIP trunking. We offer toll-free, termination, international call termination, 911, CNAM, and all that other stuff that typically you would want to include with services that you sell to your customers. So at this time, I want to go ahead and introduce our pilot for today's flight into the world of free PBX, Tony Lewis. A little background on Tony. Prior to joining Sangoma, Tony was the CEO and co-founder of Schmooze Communications, where he developed a successful program to give integrators an edge with free PBX and Asterix based on the PBXs by offering support to the free PBX distribution. Tony has vast knowledge of free PBX and Asterix and their capabilities, making him an avid trainer on the topic. Tony comes from an entrepreneurial background and successfully started in running various companies and brings a wide background in aggressive sales and marketing. So with that, go ahead and take it away, Tony.
So my name's Tony Lewis. I'm with Sangoma Technologies. I came over almost 2 years ago with the FreePBX acquisition with Sangoma. And just going to kind of do a little introduction history about FreePBX and talk about some of the things related to FreePBX, and then hand things back off to Scott here. So FreePBX is what we like to say, and we have the facts to back it up, that we're the world's most prevalent open source PBX. We have millions of systems in production and installation throughout the world. And we receive tens of thousands of installs per month. Closer to about 40,000 nowadays from what we can track of new installs a month. And we're in 225 different countries and territories throughout the world. So a very large footprint, pretty much every part of the earth that we cover with FreePBX being installed somewhere. You know, one of the things we like to show here kind of is anyone from the Alexa website rating, a company recently acquired by Amazon. They rank websites, and we kind of show how we stack up against other open source PBXs out there. So as you can see, they range from global rankings of nothing, or the first one, this incrediblepbx.com of 1.9 million of a global rank and 411,000 in the US. And if we go all the way up to even asterisk.org, which has got a global ranking of 38,000 and a U.S. ranking of 44,000. You can kind of see where FreePBX.org ranks in here. Globally, we're the 28,000 most popular website, and in the U.S. alone, we are the 16,000 most popular website out of the tens of millions of websites that exist just in the U.S. alone. So, you know, partly some of the stats that we use to say that we're the most prevalent open source, this is one of them with lots of other stats. And then even if you stack us up against the proprietary PBXs out there, you know, we rank very high against the proprietary PBXs. Your 3CX and Mitel and ShoreTel and Uniden, you know, we outrank all these guys. You know, and Avaya and Cisco and NEC kind of come in and outrank us, but companies like Cisco do more things than PBXs, and NEC does a lot of things that aren't PBXs. So of course, we expect to see their rankings really high. But we fit in very well even against the proprietary PBXs out there. So kind of what is FreePBX? We're going to first talk about some of the business features of FreePBX. FreePBX itself supports video calling, point-to-point video calling, and supports complete secure communications with SRTP and TLS. And then has things like a company directory to let you look up people's extensions. When outside callers call in, they can look up by the person's name. Things like announcements and IVRs, where to direct calls to, call queuing with ACD, or also known as call queuing, and then a lot of your things like flexible time-based routing and how we can route calls based on time of day to different places in the PBX. All your standard built-in conference bridging, so you can create conference bridges, you can create as many as you want and put as many callers as you want in the bridges. Fax to email, hunt and ring groups, music on hold with customizable, being able to upload MP3s. The ability to do things like voicemail blasting, where we blast out a voicemail to multiple users. Your Find Me, Follow Me calling to bring in your cell phone as part of your extension. The ability for end users in their voicemail box to have their own little personal IVR that might say, try me on my cell phone, press 0, to reach my assistant, press 1, and to contact the support department, press 2, for example. So even within an extension's own IVR or their own voicemail box, they can create a little personal IVR. And then things like wake-up calls, the ability to schedule wake-up calls kind of for hotels. Is this a list of all our business features? No, it's just some of the most common ones that people like. There are literally thousands of features in FreePBX that we can spend 5 hours covering. Call delivery, so when an inbound call comes in, some of the most common ways of delivering calls is using ACD or queuing, so automatic call delivery. The ability to have one or more IVRs and nested IVRs where you prompt the callers what they want to press 1 for sales, 2 for support. The ability to do simple ring groups where somebody presses, for example, 0 for the operator, we can have it ring multiple phones at the same time. And very powerful queue application with that ACD and lots of routing logic and the ability to make one queue a higher priority than another queue. So if I have agents that are logged into a support queue and a VIP support queue, I can make sure the VIP support calls get delivered to the agent before the normal support calls. So the queuing side of FreePBX is extremely in-depth and very robust on the feature set. Conference bridging, so you can have unlimited conference bridges, as much as your phone system and your phone service can handle. You get a lot of granular control over each conference room for things like PIN numbers. If you want to record the conference room, what type of announcements are played to the participants when they join the conference room. The ability to automatically have all your callers muted, for example. So lots of granular control over those conference rooms as an administrator or as an end user with our user control panel. The ability to, recently in FreePBX 13, we introduced the ability to do your own custom system recordings, which has always existed, but that same system recording can have multiple languages associated to it. So I can have a single IVR, and I can go in and create a single system recording for that IVR and have 5 different announcements depending what language is chosen before they hit the IVR. So on a per route basis, when a call comes into the PBX, I can, on a per route, set the language tag. And now any sound prompt that's played during the flow of that call will be whatever language tag we set. So now I can have that single system recording with a single IVR, but have an English and a French and a German and a Spanish version of the same prompts, and not have to create multiple IVRs. The ability to do time-based routing. So when a call comes in Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., you may want to route it one place, and after 5 p.m. route it to another place. And with FreePBX 14 that's in alpha right now, we have complete integration with calendars. So there's a built-in calendar you can use, or you can link it with your Google Calendar, iCal, or Office 365, and you can route your calls based on calendars, or based on a calendar that you set up. So you can go into your calendar, define all your reoccurring open hours, close for your national holidays, and the system will just pull all right from your calendar everything. Fax to email. So I know Vitelity does lots of different faxing on their SIP trunking and faxing solutions. If you bring the fax into the PBX, you can by default have all your faxes emailed to you. Full support for T38 for faxing inbound and outbound. Find Me, Follow Me. So the ability for users to set up a Find Me, Follow Me in their extension and have calls routed to different phone numbers in that Find Me, Follow Me, such as your home or cell phone number. And the ability for end users to control that Find Me, Follow Me settings and ring times and what numbers are dialed with an app on their Sangoma phone or from the user control panel. And again, in FreePBX 14, you can now tie your Find Me, Follow Me to your calendar. So you can create a calendar and define what hours of each day you want the Find Me, Follow Me to be active for. And if it doesn't match that calendar, then the Find Me, Follow Me will automatically be disabled. So that's a new feature in FreePBX 14. The ability to upload your own custom music on hold files with MP3 or WAV files, and then throughout the call flow in FreePBX, you can change that music on hold. So I can come in on an inbound route and use one music on hold, but on another route use a different music on hold, or on a per queue basis change the music on hold. Lots of different areas in FreePBX where you can change what music on hold is played. So our calling features of FreePBX, all your normal features you'd expect to see: three-way calling, voicemail to email, caller ID, the ability to call transfer blind and attended, call recording with granular control over automated call recording or on-demand call recording, do not disturb, your call forwarding and call waiting, call histories. End users and user control panel can see all their call history, and if they have recordings enabled, they can listen to and download the recordings. Everything's permissionable, so even if they are recording their calls, you can, inside of UCP, restrict permissions so they can't download the recorded calls, or they can't listen to them, or you can restrict permissions for both of them. Blacklisting, the ability to actually come up with a list of numbers that you want to blacklist, and anytime somebody calls in from that phone number, it'll play back the numbers not in service message to them. Paging and intercomming. So intercomming is a one-to-one. So one extension calls another extension, the phone auto answers on the speakerphone, where a paging is a one-to-many. I call a page group and 20 phones auto answer and can listen to my page. Call screening, so the ability to say if a number is a private number, intercept the call and make them record their name, and then when the call gets sent to the extension, play the recorded name of who called in on that block call ID. And call parking, the ability to put calls on park and retrieve them from any other phone. So these are the most common calling features of FreePBX. There are lots of others, of course. Voicemail, you get unlimited voicemail boxes in FreePBX. Voicemail to email, you get visual voicemail. So if you're using Sangoma phones, you can visually see the voicemails on your phone. And if you're using the FreePBX user control panel, you can visually see the voicemails, pick which ones you want to listen to and delete and move around to different folders or forward to other users. You also get full greeting management inside a user control panel, so you can upload new temporary or busy greetings, or record them from your browser, or you can record them from your phone. So lots of ways to manage the greetings of the voicemail box. Caller ID stuff, so you can do lots of things in FreePBX to do lookups for caller ID. So most of your carriers, including Vitelity, will send you CNAM. I think you can buy bids that don't include CNAM. FreePBX itself has about 40 different sources that we can go look up caller ID for. That doesn't cost anything. It's not always the most accurate information, but some of that information might be even just looking up caller ID information within your own CRMs. Such as Sugar or ConnectWise. So there's the ability to do your own lookups against databases with the Caller ID Superfecta module in FreePBX. Call recordings, so the ability to record your calls, and administrators can listen to those via the CDR reports in FreePBX, and users, if giving permissions, can listen to them via the user control panel, and complete granular control over call recordings. So you can have automated call recordings or manual call recordings, and you can control, hey, if this call comes from this queue, nobody's allowed to record it even manually, so you have lots of control over these different call recording permissions in FreePBX. Call details, so within the FreePBX administration panel, you can see all your call details. And you can actually drill into a specific call and see all the events that happen with that call. So you can actually see that call comes into the IVR and they pressed option 4. They went to ring group 101. You can see all this with what's called call event logging. So you can actually see kind of a ladder system of the whole call path of those calls. So this is seen inside a FreePBX administration panel for admins, and also inside the user control panel. If you give users permissions, they can see all their own call history. Complete control over feature codes. So we include lots of feature codes in FreePBX. We give you the ability to customize those or disable them or change them to different feature codes. So feature codes are things like dialing voicemail, call forwarding, blacklisting phone numbers. There's probably 50 different feature codes in FreePBX. You have full control over those feature codes from the admin panel. The ability to blacklist numbers. So you can blacklist numbers with feature codes and unblock numbers with feature codes. And you can also blacklist numbers through the FreePBX administration panel. And coming soon in UCP will let users have their own user blacklist. So a user can go in and add blacklists that only apply to their extension. Paging and intercomming, full support in FreePBX. So paging can be done to the phones themselves, or can be done with overhead paging, even analog paging devices that you can put in a little SIP gateway for. And the PBX will call the SIP gateway and then send the calls out the analog paging system. Full support for multicast and unicast paging, or a mixed environment where I mix multicast and unicast together. And full support for lots of third-party paging devices. So all your cyber data devices for overhead paging and call boxes or algo units that are all SIP-based are fully supported inside of FreePBX. Call parking, the ability to park a call and then an end user can retrieve that call from another phone by dialing the slot number. So a little bit of some of the support behind FreePBX. What type of devices can you connect to FreePBX? So FreePBX complies with open standards for lots of different protocols. So your protocols of SIP, EX2, PRI, T1s, E1s, J1s, your POTS lines such as FXO, FXS, any of your ISDN standards, GSM standards, DOTI. Full support for WebRTC. So inside of the user control panel, you can have an embedded WebRTC phone for making phone calls from your browser. And full support for most SIP compliant soft phones. So your Counterpath and Bria and all your different soft phones out there can be connected with FreePBX. A lot of support for different specialty devices like door phones and overhead paging, strobe alerts, paging gateways, voice gateways. Then, of course, support for all your desktop phones, your Galinks and Astras, and, of course, Sangoma phones. Full support in FreePBX for managing and configuring those phones. So FreePBX, from a system administration standpoint, you have full control in the admin panel to manage all your settings, your extensions and users and IVRs and call flow, and also control over upgrading your system, performing backups and restores, setting up warm spares with another system. Everything's web-based. We make it very easy for you to manage your phone system. You don't have to understand Linux. Very rarely do you have to get in the Linux command line. We try to do everything for you from the FreePBX GUI. Updates inside of FreePBX. So there's lots of things that have to be updated. There's the operating system itself. There's the FreePBX framework and all of its modules. There's the asterisk itself and all of its dependencies, and then things like your databases and web servers. So we allow you to upgrade all of your modules and everything related to FreePBX from within the FreePBX GUI. So inside FreePBX, you can go in and update all your modules, and you can pick individual modules that you want to upgrade and control your upgrades. As far as your operating system level, depends if you use the FreePBX distro or you're using hand install stuff. If you use our distro, then we provide a mechanism of operating the whole operating system. So that's the kernel all the way up to asterisk and all the dependencies in between. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Vitality's hosted PBX is based on our distro, so the upgrade scripts themselves will allow you to upgrade all the underlining components that make up your FreePBX phone system above and beyond just the modules of FreePBX. We also have in 13 introduced a new bulk handler that will let you bulk import all of your extensions, your DIDs, your users and user groups, blacklist, and contacts. So instead of having to go and manually create 50 extensions, you can import all this from CSV. So it makes managing and getting your system up and running much faster for the things that you do repetitive, like extensions and DIDs and users. Localization. So FreePBX has been localized, the GUI, into lots of different languages. Currently, I think it's 18 different languages, and you can change on the fly what language you want to see the GUI in. And the translations for this GUI are all managed by the community. So we get lots of people who contribute these translations, and anyone can get on our list as a contributor for translations. So if you have languages you want to support, or we're missing some translations, you can go to this weblit.freepbx.org, and you can sign up and help contribute translating FreePBX. We also support multiple sound files, so all those core baked-in sound files in your PBX, like your voicemail prompts, like when you dial *98 and says, please enter your password, and then press 1 to listen to new voicemails. All those baked-in core sound files. Currently, we now, as of this week, are supporting 10 different languages and adding more on a quarterly basis. So not only is the GUI localizable, all of your sound files are localizable. You can install more than one sound files. So I could install English and Spanish, and on a per extension basis, I could say this extension's English, this one's Spanish, and anytime the extension with the Spanish language is checked, anytime they call something inside the phone system, like voicemail, if the Spanish prompts are available, it will play those. If not, it will always fall back to the English prompts. Backup and restore. So we made a new wizard in FreePBX 13 to get setting up a backup really simple. So you don't have to be an expert on what should be backed up. Just run through the 5-step wizard, and you will have backups done on whatever schedule you pick. Nightly at midnight, you can store them locally or remotely on an FTP server or another Linux server. So we made getting the backup set up very simple. You just run through these 5 little steps, answer a few questions, and your system will start backing up every night for you. Within that same backup module, you have the ability to do what we call warm spare. So you can set up 2 FreePBX systems, and one of them can be a warm spare, and it will pull backups every night off of the production server and restore them automatically and be ready for you to cut over in the event that you have a failure. You can view our wiki.freepbx.org on how to set up this warm spare, but it's a very common setting that people are doing on a daily basis nowadays. Also introduced into FreePBX 13 is much better control over SSL. There's lots of things inside your PBX that can use SSL. So there's the simple one like your web server. So the actual GUI of FreePBX can be SSL. If you're going to do SRTP and TLS, you will need SSL. If you're going to do WebRTC, you will need SSL. So inside FreePBX, you can upload a certificate, you can generate a self-signed certificate, and we also now support the free Let's Encrypt certificate system that allows you to get a free signed SSL certificate that auto-renews. FreePBX will auto-renew it every 30 days so it never expires. And then that certificate could be linked for things like we talked about WebRTC or your FreePBX administration panel or the FreePBX user control panel. Anything that allows SSL can be linked with that certificate that you upload or manage through here. Within FreePBX, things that really aren't PBX related get dumped into a module called System Administration. And then here you can manage things like your network settings and DNS, your intrusion detection, our new built-in firewall that's in FreePBX 13 to allow you to firewall your PBX off, and port management, so you can control what ports things are listening on. So for example, FreePBX administration without SSL could be 80, but with SSL could be 443. And the user control panel could be 80 and 8443. So you have full control for all the different services that use the web server to be on different ports. So if you're going to be doing HTTP or HTTPS provisioning your phones, you can define different ports that the phones will use when they're doing provisioning, all from within the system administration module. We also have a built-in FreePBX has capability to set up a VPN server in the PBX using OpenVPN. So in the system administration module, you'd go to VPN server, enable your VPN server, give us a little bit of information for it, and then it will automatically start the VPN, and then you can go into user manager and you can, on a per user basis or group level, generate user certificates, and now those user certificates can be used with Sangoma phones, or an end user can download the certificates from user control panel, install them on their Mac, Windows, or Linux computers and connect a VPN to the PBX, or soft phones, or administrating the PBX itself. So if you have remote workers, you do have the ability now to have a native built-in VPN into the PBX that will natively work with Sangoma phones. So we've mentioned a few times now this user control panel, or UCP. This is kind of something new that was introduced about a year and a half ago in FreePBX. It's a place for your end users to do things in the PBX that you as an administrator wouldn't want to do. It was designed to be responsive, meaning it works on desktops, tablets, or mobile phones. And some of the features in user control panel are things like the WebRTC built-in soft phone, the ability to see their call history, the ability to see any contacts that have been set up on the PBX, and the ability to create custom contacts that only that user sees, and those contacts then can be shown on the Sangoma desktop phones. Presence management, the ability to change their status, the ability to control the phones as far as the buttons on the phone. So if you give them permissions, a user can add or remove buttons on their hard desk phone right from UCP and not have to get the administrator involved. And then all kinds of management things: find me, follow me, call forwarding, call waiting, do not disturb, and then all their voicemail management, be able to see their voicemails and listen to them. And also with our Conference Pro, you can view all your conference rooms, view all the callers in the conference room, and manage that conference room, kick and mute people out of the conference room real time. So in UCP, here's an example of your call history screen. So you'll see the date, the call ID, and the duration. And if there's a call recording with it, you can download or play that call recording if you have permissions. The ability to get call pop-ups, so anytime an inbound call comes to your extension, you can get a pop-up in UCP. And the ability from UCP to originate a call, even without WebRTC. So you can pick what extension, because a user might have more than one extension. So you pick the extension that user wants, and then what they want to dial, hit originate. Their desk phone will ring. They pick up their desk phone, and it'll connect them with whatever number they ask to ring. If you're using WebRTC, you'll have a built-in soft phone for making and receiving calls through WebRTC. The ability to manage your own settings we talked about, like find me, follow me, your voicemail settings, call forwarding, all from within UCP. The ability to change your presence and the ability to send instant messaging. So in FreePBX, there's an XMPP server, and if the users are set up with an XMPP user, then inside of UCP, users can instant message other users. And then voicemail, the ability to listen to the voicemails, delete them from here, forward them to other users, all from within their web browser. And then the ability to change their voicemail settings, like their password, the email address that voicemail to email goes to, and do they want to attach a copy of the voicemail to the email or not. All those settings the user can control right inside of user control panel. And lastly, their greetings. So they have the ability here to listen to their unavailable and busy greeting and their name greeting, where they just record their name. And they have the ability to upload new recordings here or record them from their browser. And then, of course, the ability to control your device settings, the buttons on your phone, if given permission, so they can add BLFs and speed dials and change the order of the buttons around, all from within user control panel. And then some conference room management. So here I can view a conference room. I can see the caller ID, who's in the conference room. I can mute and kick callers out of here. I can also invite callers. So I can pick, it's either going to be a user or an admin that I'm going to invite, and then the phone number, and hit invite, and it will call them and dump them into the conference room. And the reason we ask, is it a user or an admin user, is if the conference room has a PIN number, when we invite them, they don't have to enter the PIN number. They get dropped in as the user or the admin and aren't prompted to enter the PIN number. And then faxing, so the ability from here to view all your inbound faxes and delete them and forward them to other users, and the ability to send PDF and TIFF documents as outbound faxes. So that's a little bit about FreePBX. There's a lot in a small period of time. We're going to talk just a few things about Sangoma and things Sangoma makes for FreePBX that can be purchased. And the two main things we're going to talk about is our phones and what we call commercial modules, which extend the features of the core FreePBX that you can get for free. Sangoma itself launched a series of phones about 6 months ago. We have 3 phones in this series, our S300, S500, and S700. And we also have an expansion module that can connect to the S500 or 700. The S300 is our what we call our entry-level phone. It's got a backlit display, HD voice, native 5-way conference calling. It is headset compatible. It's got a built-in speakerphone for your hands-free calling. You can register up to 2 SIP accounts with it. It's got a 10100 network connection. All of our phones do support HD voice. All of our phones are PoE, and all of our phones have native VPN capability, so the phone can connect directly to FreePBX across a VPN based on you setting up the VPN inside of FreePBX. And then our enterprise phone, which is our midline S500, is a color display. It's got 28 programmable buttons. It's headset compatible with EHS, so if you're using wireless headsets, Jabra and Platonics, we have an EHS adapter you can purchase that will connect to that base station and allow you to answer and hang up calls from your wireless headset. Again, speaker calling, 5-way conference calling. This phone will support 4 SIP accounts, and it's 10100 or gigabit. When I say 5-way conference calling, that's native to the phone. So most phones allow you to do a 3-way conference call, so it's you plus 2 other people. With all of our phones, we do native 5-way conference calling, so it's you and 4 other people can be on a native conference call on that phone. And one of the neat things is you as the phone user can drop off that conference call, but allow those 4 other people to still be in that conference call and rejoin it later without ever losing the call. So it's pretty powerful built-in 3-way or what we call 5-way conference calling in the phones themselves. And then the S700 is just a larger display and some extra buttons on it that you don't get with an S500. Again, HD voice, 10100 gigabit, and it's got 6 SIP accounts you can register to it. Our expansion module will give you, it's a color screen, unlike any other expansion module or most expansion modules on the market. It's a full color screen, and it has 20 buttons on it, 10 on each side with 2 pages of buttons. So the little arrows at the bottom let you flip between the 2 pages back and forth. So it allows you to have 40 programmable buttons complete. And you can daisy chain up to 6 of these modules to an S500 or S700 phone. So everyone asks, well, why did you guys come out with phones? You know, there's lots of phones on the market. One of the big reasons was the tight integration into FreePBX we could do with the phones. So with Sangoma phones, you get a suite of apps that we include for free that you don't have to purchase or anything. And they're apps to allow you to control things on the phone system. So I can visually, for example, see all my park calls with the caller ID and pick which calls I want to pick up out of park. I can view my conference rooms and I can see all the caller ID of who's in the conference room and mute and kick callers. I can change my status I can manage my follow me settings. I can hot desk with the phone, so I can log out and walk up to another phone and log in, and it does all this without reboots. So I get real-time hot desking with our login, log out functionality. So lots of different things that these apps give you. The real point of these apps is to extend the feature set of FreePBX into the handset and not have to memorize feature codes to do everything. If you want to enable Find Me, Follow Me, you don't have to have a feature code. You can use the app. If you want to log into a queue, you don't have to have 8 buttons programmed for each queue. You have a single button that launches the app that lets you manage the logging in and pausing state in all the queues that you're a member of. And then what we call our zero-touch provisioning. So the phones themselves have a concept of what we call a redirect server. And when the phone comes from the factory, if your network itself isn't telling the phone how to find the PBX, it will reach out to our redirect server. And from our Sangoma portal, you can register all your Macs and tell it what IP address you want the phone to go get its configuration files from. So when the phone hits our redirect server, we'll redirect it to whatever IP address you told us using FTP, TFTP, HTTP, or HTTPS, whatever you define. And the phone will then find your PBX automatically for you. So now you don't have to go into every phone and set the provisioning server. And you can do it in our portal once and say these 8 MAC addresses go to this one, these 50 MAC addresses go to this IP address. You have full control over managing that redirect service. The phones themselves natively can connect to your PBX with our built-in VPN, as we talked about. So inside FreePBX, it takes literally about 45 seconds to set up the VPN server, and then go into your users, and either on a per-user basis or at the group level, tell it to generate a VPN client for each of those users. And then inside our endpoint manager, you tell it to use the VPN instead of not using the VPN, and the phone will pull down all the information from the PBX, start up the VPN, and connect the VPN to the PBX. So reach the PBX the first time to get all the information, and from there forward, it can use the VPN for all of its phone calling and phone apps on the phone itself. And now you can close down a lot of your ports, like 50, 60, and different ports on your system, and securely talk from your phone back to your phone system for remote phones. And then lastly, we have a series of add-ons to FreePBX that are commercial add-ons that you can purchase. We're not going to go through all these. There's, I don't know, 15, 20 different add-ons that extend some features in FreePBX. You can reach out to the sales folks at Sangoma. They'll be happy to walk you through what the different modules do, but they extend different features of FreePBX and give you some pretty cool add-ons. We try to price them very reasonable. This is kind of the one way we really make money in FreePBX and fund the project. You know, we have a large team behind FreePBX, and you know, when you're installing FreePBX, we don't really make anything on that. So we have to make money through things like our add-ons, selling phones, the Sangoma phones, and different things to support the project. Probably the most common one, the couple we'll talk about quickly, is our endpoint manager. So if you're using Sangoma phones, you don't need to purchase this. But if you're going to use other third-party phones and you want to auto-provision the phones in FreePBX, you can purchase our endpoint manager for $75, and we will auto-provision from 20-some different manufacturers and over 300 different devices. And if you're in an environment where you need true high availability, we have a complete HA solution that will allow you to take 2 FreePBXs paired together, clustered together, and they automatically fail over between the 2, and your phones re-register, all done automatically without any intervention from you, with about 10 to 15 seconds of downtime in the event of a complete failure. I know Vitelity set a few of these up with their dedicated hosting stuff that they offer, where you can co-locate with them. So I know we have a few customers doing HA with Vitelity. So you can reach out to us in Vitelity if you want more information on our full HA solution. And then we just recently launched an application called Zulu. It's your desktop application. So it gives you click-to-call ability. So from Firefox, Chrome, and Outlook, you can click-to-call. And then faxing, it'll show you all your inbound faxes and let you send outbound faxes from the system. and then do things like URL pops. So you can pop up a URL into a website and pass some information like the call ID. So we use this a lot for CRMs or help desk systems to go pop up and look up the contact or account or the ticket number automatically for your reps using Zulu, because it can do call pop-ups into any URL. This is a commercial add-on that you can purchase, again, from sangoma/freepbx.org. And lastly, if you really want to learn more about FreePBX itself, we host about 5-6 times a year in-depth training classes at our U.S. quarters in Neenah, Wisconsin. So it's a 5-day event. We spend about 3.5 days on FreePBX and a day on SBCs and gateways, and very hands-on, lab-oriented. We take you through from a basic system all the way up. So with this class, you get some phones to take home. You get a PBX, a gateway, an SBC that you get to take home with you after the class. And you, over that course of 5 days, learn how to fully configure and manage your phone system and gateways and SBCs. Our next class is the week of November 13th. If you want some more information on it, you can go to freepbx.org, the store tab, click on the training classes, and you can get more information about it and sign up. That is it, Scott.
Awesome, Tony. This very informative, very, very powerful PBX. So we're going to go ahead and start taking some Q&A. So if you have questions, go ahead and type them directly into your chat client there within your GoToMeeting web client, and we'll go ahead and get those answered for you. So one of the things I've seen several questions that are coming through is this PowerPoint presentation. Will we post that somewhere so you can review it or download it, as well as this entire webinar? Yes, we will. It has been recorded. We will post that probably here within the next several days. We'll put it on our YouTube channel, but we will let everybody know via email where you can go view that again. So just wanted to cover that. One question that we have from Brian was on the warm spare, and so basically the question is, do you need multiple virtual servers to support, or can you put it on the same server? So that question would be for you, Tony.
Well, I don't think it is really for me. I think what he's asking is, because he's virtualized, would you do the warm spare within the same host server, I think is what he's asking. Because, of course, the warm spare means you'd have 2 PBXs somewhere, whether they're on the same host or different host. I would recommend, of course, on 2 separate hosts, so if the host goes down, you don't lose your server. So I assume, Scott, that's something they can request, is to put a server on a different host.
Okay. Yeah. So if someone is looking at getting that feature through Vitelity, you would want to basically call in, talk to sales, and or open a support ticket on that. We can get you the details of how we would do that. So a great question. This question is from Jeff. It says, we use Asterisk and Vitelity at the office, POTS 2. At home, I use Vitelity for 4 numbers. I'm running it on a Raspberry Pi. It's time for an upgrade at home. What's a good distribution of Asterisk to install on the Raspberry Pi? And then second part.
I couldn't recommend something, because we would. I mean, it's not something we'd ever recommend to run a PBX on a Raspberry Pi. I mean, it's great for testing things on. The only distribution I know that exists out there is the PBX. It's called, and it uses FreePBX, and I think it's Debian, and then of course the Asterisk packages. Kind of beyond anything I can offer advice on, because it's not something we'd ever recommend.
Okay, great. This question comes from Chima, and the question is, how do I update or upgrade my hosted FreePBX server software, currently at version 2.11037? Modules available for online upgrade, now stands at 79 and counting. I have no idea where to go from here.
So you would go into the module admin in FreePBX and hit the button that says check online for updates, and then tell it to install them all. This is documented really well on our wiki at wiki.freepbx.org.
Okay, great. Next question from Sean. How does the Sangoma phone communicate to the PBX for the phone apps?
It communicates across HTTP or HTTPS, depending what you tell Endpoint Manager to use. So we talked a little bit about port management, where you can set different ports. So each phone apps themselves talk on a dedicated port that has nothing to do with FreePBX admin, and then you get to pick is it HTTP or HTTPS and what port it talks across.
Great. Okay.
Or if you're using the built-in VPN, it will talk across the VPN, so then it doesn't matter at all.
Okay, great. Hope, Sean, that answers your question. We're got quite a few questions coming in now, so we're going to try to move through quickly. Number one, this is from Jim. Jim really loves the endpoint manager, says it's killer, but he does have a question. How can high availability work with a local PBX and a cloud PBX?
Not at this time. High availability uses a technology called DRBD, which is not designed to be on different networks. It's designed to be on its own LAN network for the way it has to replicate all the data across the hard drives. So we're looking at some changes with our new Sangoma 7 distro coming out with FreePBX 14. We haven't determined yet exactly on that, but we are looking at ways of allowing HA across data centers and across LANs.
Okay, stand by for that. This question comes from Alina. I hope I spelled that right or said that right. Does Sangoma provide software phone solutions, or do most customers use a separate solution hand in hand?
For
Sangoma make a software? Yeah, yeah, I think that's what the question is.
So we actually announced the upcoming release of Zulu, which is our desktop add-on. We'll have a native soft phone built into it. It'll be considered beta for a little while still, but we do have a complete soft phone being launched as part of just the Zulu package.
Got it. Okay. Can you do this one's from Ian. Can you do high availability with virtual machines using VMware?
Absolutely. We do it all the time.
Okay. Great. Let me see what we got in here. One question from Seth. How much is the training class typically?
I am not sure. It's in the mid $2,000. There's early bird special pricing. I think it's like $2,100 or $2,200, and then it goes up to $3,000 if you miss the early bird. We have limited capabilities. We can only hold 16 people here, and we almost always fill up the class. So.
Okay. And they can get more information from that on the on your at Sangoma.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And with that, you get a lot of gear. The training class, you get one of our appliances, you get 2 phones, you get a gateway, you get an SBC, and you get all the commercial modules, which is like $4,000 for the commercial modules licensed on that box that you get to take home with you. So you're getting $5,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah, that's a great deal for sure. This question comes in from Raj, and so what is Vitality's role besides DID and SIP trunks? Well, DID is part of Envoy, and we are a CLEC, so we do offer the network that a lot of these calls are going to go over, calls to and from your FreePBX servers. We also have been a long-standing partner with FreePBX, so one of the things that kind of separates us from our competitors, we actually have 2 data centers here based in Denver. These are VoIP-optimized data centers where we do, cloud and dedicated FreePBX server solutions. So that's a little bit above and beyond what most of our competitors do around FreePBX. This next question comes from Ben. Do you have any multi-tenant solutions with FreePBX?
Yeah, virtualize it.
Okay.
We have given up on multi-tenant asterisk. We've tried it so many times. Just way too many problems with it. Never had success. Have never launched a product because of that. Virtualization and virtualization overhead is so cheap nowadays. It's cheaper to virtualize than it is to try to multi-tenant anything.
Right. Yep. So what you're saying basically is that with a virtual environment, instead of having a customer who's basically sharing an instance of FreePBX, they can actually get their own dedicated FreePBX virtual server.
Yep. Yeah, and the overhead of virtual servers is so low it doesn't make sense anymore. And the problem with multi-tenant is the minute you have a problem on that box, it affects every customer on the box. So if asterisk has a hiccup reloading, or customers are making GUI changes and now need to reload to make those changes active, reloads are very intensive on the system and shouldn't be done during busy times. Well, you have no control over that. Now that reload can affect every other tenant on that system. So virtualization solves all of that.
Great. Yeah, and just for everybody's knowledge, Vitelity does offer virtualization with FreePBX, so we can actually build you a server and give you, it's typically around 17 virtual servers, virtual FreePBX servers that you can deploy to each individual customer that you have. So we'll have contact information at the end of the Q&A, and so if you have questions on our virtualization service and pricing, you'll be able to reach out to our sales team for that. Move on to the next question. We're going to be running out of time here shortly, so I'm going to try to get through as many of these as I can. Next question would be, how stable is FreePBX in a virtual environment, specifically conference bridges?
Perfect.
So get a lot
no
of
problem.
okay.
As long as you use modern asterisk like 11 or newer, and you don't use Meet Me conference room, but use App Conference, which is what we default to nowadays. No problems. Years ago, when the old Meet Me conference rooms relied on Dottie, it was problematic. But nowadays, no problems.
Got it. Question comes from John. Actually, sorry, John. This is going to come from Chris. What is an upgrade path for FreePBX that is a couple years old to the newest? So let's say they're several versions several years ago. They need to upgrade. How do they get that?
It all depends on your operating system, because as you have to upgrade FreePBX, there are other underlying things that we need upgraded that we don't have control over. It depends how you installed FreePBX and what distro you used. If you're talking just FreePBX modules, you do it through module admin, but that's not going to touch any of the underlying things like your kernel and Dottie and asterisk. And as you go to more modern FreePBX, we stop supporting older asterisk versions. So, for example, FreePBX 14, which is alpha right now, will only support asterisk 11 or newer.
Got it. And could I get that? Probably some more information on that through your website, like the .org site, or through the forums, like the message boards?
You know, if you're really worried about it, they can hit up professional services, and we can give them advice on what it would take to do it, or not do it. It all depends. If you're using the FreePBX distro, our official distro, it's all handled. If you go to our wiki, it's all handled with scripts. We take care of keeping everything up to date with you with our scripts. If you're using some other install mechanism like PBX on a flash or Elastics, that is up to each of those distributions to figure out how they're going to give you upgrades.
Gotcha. Great. Now this question is from John. So what is three-way calling, and is that the ring group feature?
Three-way calling is your conference calling, where you're talking to somebody and you want to bring in somebody else in that conversation. That's a three-way call. A ring group is just calling multiple phones. Whoever answers picks up the call. It's just a call distribution.
Okay. This question, another question from Raj. Will we be able to rent servers hosted by Vitelity? The answer to that question is yes. That is a service that we do offer, and you can reach out to our sales team. I'll provide that contact information here shortly, and they can get you pricing and availability and the different options you'll have for that. This is another question from John. Do you offer ACD queues?
Yes, so FreePBX has full queuing and ACDing built into the default of FreePBX, and then we have some commercial add-ons that really extend the queuing functionality and queue reporting functionality.
Okay. Question from Patrick. How does Vitelity offer this to the resellers? Is it white label? Actually, when we provide a virtual FreePBX server to you, it is branded all with Sangoma FreePBX. There's no Vitelity branding on that hosted server. Moving on, let's see here. We're just going to do a few more questions here. So this question is from Mike. As an MSP, can you elaborate more on the ConnectWise compatibility and how that works?
I have no clue on ConnectWise. I know it's a CRM. I have no clue how it connects. I know Zulu does lots of, the ability to do call pop-ups. ConnectWise is a web-based CRM, so, it's just going to do a URL curl and pass in a caller ID, and you'd have to have a way on ConnectWise to search, to give you that URL to search by a phone number. I couldn't give you advice on that, sorry.
Okay. Here's a good question. Is there a way to white label the end user portal to our business customers so they see our brand as opposed to a FreePBX logo or brand. Is there a tiered end user portal where they can give the end user certain features, or maybe through a UC panel or
so FreePBX has a OEM program. If you go to freepbx.org, we do offer a OEM program to build your own branded PBX from the admin GUI all the way into the user control panel.
Great. All right, just a couple more questions here, and then we're going to wrap things up. I'm trying to filter through. There's quite a few questions here. So this one's, and I can't pronounce the name, Shaitan. I'm just going to go with that. How to use Communicator or like that desktop apps in FreePBX? How to use Communicator?
I don't know what Communicator is.
I think that's a, yeah, I think that might be a little incomplete question there, so maybe I missed that. Go on, let's say just do one more question here. Okay, so then this one's from Kasim, I think is how you pronounce that. What is the main difference between Core Asterisk and FreePBX?
Well, FreePBX uses Asterisk. Asterisk is just an engine. You have to write all the logic and build all the behavior of what Asterisk should do. It's just, Asterisk is literally just taking media and mixing media. It's an engine. And then FreePBX builds all the logic. Like Follow Me is the logic we build. Yes, there is some logic in Asterisk we don't build, like voicemails hard-coded in Asterisk. But the majority of the features you see in FreePBX are the features we build on top of Asterisk.
Okay, great. And Tony, can I think that's it for the last of the questions. The last thing that we have here is just basically our special that we're going to be offering for everybody who attended this presentation. So for the next week until October 12th, we're going to be offering our virtual cloud-based free PBX servers for only $24.95 a month. That's normally $29.99. There is still the $29 setup fee. But if you have questions on that, or if you want to take advantage of that, you can reach out to our sales team at 1-855-855-VoIP. Press option 1 to get you into the sales menu. And then you can also email us at carriersales@vitelity.com. And then if you're an existing Vitelity customer, which I would assume most of you are, you can actually go into your Vitelity customer portal and then open up a support ticket, flag it for sales, and then say, can you give me more information on your hosted PBX offering? So with that being said, we wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to learn more about FreePBX. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Cheryl. And we will see you next time. We're going to be announcing the next webinar here probably within the next day or two. So keep an eye out for those emails that have more information on that. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.